everyone. So this morning I got this wonderful surprise. My daughter Chloe actually made me gluten-free French toast and surprised me with it, and it was amazing. So she was having one of those days. She eats super clean, and then she just had a little craving. She's like, you know, I kind of want my old something that I used to eat, like some comfort food, and so she decided to make gluten-free French toast. And I know some people have written in and said, I've actually had several people write in and say, I can't believe you're using gluten-free bread because it's like of the devil, right? So let's talk about that for a minute. When is it okay to eat more carbs? What kind of carbs should you eat? And what will not sabotage your success like other things? So here's the answer. There are times that you should or can eat a little bit more carbs than normal. For example, if you're an athlete, so when I was training for my black belt and I was literally training between 3 and 5 hours a day, and that level of expenditure, those, you know, the amount of energy you're outputting, as long as you're burning it off and you need a little bit of extra, you know, fuel, that's one of the times it's okay. The day I took my black belt test, that night before, I actually ate exactly this, gluten-free French toast. I ate some oatmeal, things I don't normally eat on a day-to-day basis. So there are those times that it's okay. The other thing is when you're craving, right? So rather than going out and really getting something that's going to sabotage your success, have some of these alternatives. Is gluten-free bread the best thing you should eat? Should you be eating it every day? Absolutely not. Okay, it's loaded with starch. It increases your sugar intake. It quickly turns to sugar. But what I want you to pay attention to is it's okay once in a while if you follow a few simple rules, okay? It's better than having a cheat day. So a lot of people think that they should go out and do cheat days. Cheat days are supposed to be the thing that help people be successful, when in fact they're actually sabotaging you in most cases without knowing a simple, couple simple ways that your body works. Number one, I've seen people go out on cheat days, plan them ahead. They spend all week writing out and thinking about all the things they want to cheat on, let's just call it Sunday. So every Sunday is going to be your cheat day. They will be thinking all week. They're like obsessing about all the foods they get to eat on Sunday. Do you really think that's a person who's overcome their addiction to food, or that has actually become successful in their mindset and thinking about the way they eat? Probably not. They'll also, I've seen people eat up to 4,000 calories a day on a cheat day. That's crazy, okay? Because they're eating the worst foods possible, triggering all that inflammation all over again, and they're setting off that cascade of hormones that's keeping them addicted. We do not want you doing that. We want to give you some simple strategies that will help you be successful. So I'm going to start this gluten-free French toast while I'm talking to you. First thing you do, it only takes 1 egg. You whip the egg up, then put it into a shallow dish, put the toast in it. I'm doing 2 eggs today, okay, just to show you so you can see it clearly. But you really only need 1. And if you want to increase, days when I am working out at the gym and I really want to increase my protein and a little bit of carbs, I'll use 2 eggs, then pour the rest of the egg while it's cooking over the toast. I'll show you what I mean. Then you've got the equivalent of 2 eggs of protein in there, right? And all that healthy fat. And the new research on eggs, because people keep asking me, whoops, wrong one, is that you can eat it. They did the study on 7 eggs a week, did not increase dietary cholesterol with the exception of a small population of type 2 diabetics that are genetically predisposed. So eggs are not the enemy, right? So I'm going to put this into the pan. Of course, that's unless you're allergic. So we're going to drop that into this pan. While that's cooking, I'm going to keep talking to you about your cheat days and how to be successful. So now that we know that thinking all week about eating really bad foods, then going out and eating 4,000 calories of bad foods is really going to sabotage your success, what do you do to be successful? Because people always say, well, do you do it perfectly? Well, of course not. Nobody's going to do it perfectly. Perfect and perfectionism are words we want to take out of your vocabulary. We want you to be successful, and you're not successful if you're trying to be perfect, because that means every time you fall, you beat yourself up or you quit. And we don't want that. You just fall, you get back up, you keep going. So we have a 95-5 rule. 95% of the time you eat really clean, like the way we're teaching you in the Brain Warriors way. You break those addictions. 5% of the time, if you do things like this and you have some go-to comfort foods, it's not going to sabotage your success. Also, have alternatives for your comfort foods, meaning what I want you to do is think about having an alternative. So we're going to flip this as soon as it gets a little bit golden. And now once I flip it, I'm talking to you, doing 2 things at once. I'm going to put a little more egg on the top of it. You want to come in on that, sweetheart? Chloe is filming for me today. So I poured the egg over the top, so we're going to increase that protein, right? I'm going to let that brown just a little bit. So if you have some alternatives, so let's just say you want French toast. Well, you don't need to go out and eat, you know, say an 800 calorie or 1,000 calorie breakfast of French toast with a ton of syrup on it, and now the cinnamon roll swirl French toast. You can have French toast in a way where you're doing that 5% instead of like blowing it 100%, right? I'm just gonna like change my diet by 5% because I can get back on track with that. So the French toast is a good option because you are actually putting eggs and protein with that. If you ate a little bit of sliced avocado with it, some healthy fat, which is very satisfying, it's gonna help you prevent that trigger that's gonna keep you craving, right? Because the more carbs you eat, the more you crave. But by doing those couple little simple things, you're now increasing your protein, increasing your fat, and you're not overdoing the French toast. We're gonna have one piece, one slice. When it comes to dessert, think about something very similar. If you are out and you wanna have a dessert with someone, having 15 bites isn't gonna be better than having 3 bites. It's just the taste that you're looking for, right? Make sure you fill up on healthy food first, share the dessert with 2 or 3 people, and have a 3-bite rule. So we have a 3-bite rule. If you wanna have something, just have a few bites. You don't need to eat the whole thing. And then what I'll often do is have some berries or something like that just to satisfy that craving. And now you have not blown it 100%, you're actually within that 95.5. So by planning ahead, having a few, want to come in on this again? Look at how much egg I have piled on this French toast, and it makes it really yummy. You don't have to do that much, but it's gonna make it your protein content, okay, you can back up now. It's gonna make your protein content a lot higher, which is gonna be really good. So we're gonna just let that get golden brown. And then always make your next meal after this healthy. Because if you don't, if you continue to eat carbs for your next meal, right, you're gonna then start craving. That is gonna trigger that cascade of hormones. It's gonna tell you you're not satisfied, you want a little more, and that's gonna not really set you up for success. And lastly, you've gotta discipline your inner child, okay? Just like we discipline our child when it's like, well, I want what I want when I want it. Okay, well, if your kid wanted cocaine, would you give it to them? No, okay, right? That's not smart. You don't give your kids everything they want when you know it's not good for them. Guess what? Your inner child tells you a lot of nonsense also. You've got to reel it in. You've got to be the boss, be the leader, be in control, and knowing your goals, planning them out ahead of time, and then asking yourself, is my behavior getting me what I want? No? Well, then discipline your inner child a little bit. It's going to take a little bit of discipline. So now our French toast is done. I'm just going to put this on a clean plate. Turn the fire off. I'm going to slice this in half just to make it easier. It's very tender and moist. And then I want to show you a couple of alternatives to your traditional like piling on the syrup, right? One of them is coconut whipped cream. This is one of my favorites. Coconut whipped cream is just so satisfying. You can put a little dollop of that on top of the French toast, and that's actually got a nice sweet taste. One of my favorites I didn't make today because I was out of strawberries. Just puree some fresh strawberries, add a couple drops of stevia to it. That is a perfect syrup. That's actually a wonderful syrup. You can top it with wild blueberries. We've got some fresh wild blueberries. This morning, Chloe topped it with some chocolate chips. Now, I will tell you, hers was really pretty. I have this daughter who's got the mind of a chef, like everything needs to be perfect. But mine is not. Mine is functional, right? So you can drop some, these are sugar-free chocolate chips, by the way. So we make a sugar-free chocolate bar called Brain and Love. It's wonderful. You can sort of chop that up and put that on here, or shave it. Shaving it is great. Or these chips are Lily's chips, and they're really good. Now here's one tip. If your kids are insisting on syrup, and they normally pile on a ton of syrup, here's a way to cut back on the amount of syrup they're using. You can add a few drops of stevia to the whipped cream, and what will end up happening is, like, I make pumpkin spice. You can flavor it with pumpkin spice. Put a few drops of pumpkin spice stevia in the whipped cream. It tastes amazing. Or put 2 teaspoons of maple syrup and mix it with that whipped cream. Believe it or not, it's really satisfying. And then you just sort of drizzle it over the top. Now they've got the taste of the maple syrup, the satisfaction that comes along with that coconut whipped cream. And even though it looks, you know, it's got more of a mapley color to it, it's actually really tasty. And then one last thing, stay there. Just stay on the French toast. I'm gonna bring something over there. One last thing you can do, cinnamon actually increases attention and focus. Okay, so you can sprinkle the whole thing with a little cinnamon. What you don't want to do is send your kids to school after eating a quarter cup of maple syrup, okay? Because sugar increases rapid brain cell firing. It affects focus and energy after your blood sugar goes up. It's been shown to increase aggression. Lots of problems with sugar, and we wonder why our kids get in trouble. We blame them when in fact you're the parent, right? So if you learn some simple food tricks that help them, this is going to be great. As the parent, you want to take control of your children's health, teach them how to do this healthy. They're less likely to have trouble in school. They'll be able to focus better, and kids get in trouble less when they are not eating a really lousy diet. It's one of the things we work on in our clinics with people who come in, is really learning how food affects your body. So I hope this was helpful. This is, our idea of French toast that's not going to make you sick long term. You actually can do this now and then, enjoy it, but don't overdo it. 95.5. So if this is helpful, leave me comments below. Take care.